Mike was very innovative because previously to that he owned the seal sanctuary in Newquay, and he had a teaching background.
Yes.
Yeah. He taught in Wales as a teacher.
That's rough lemurs, just.
Yeah, I'm going to say that's lemurs. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it was because he was that innovative. Those innovations he did, and it broke the mould to some degree. And of course, the zoo started winning awards. I think we won the best small zoo award. So and again, gives you huge publicity. When I started work here, I may be wrong, but I always had the impression that Cornwall Council sold the zoo because it wasn't paying. It was an unnecessary overhead for them, and visitor numbers probably about 50,000 a year.
Yeah, they've dropped.
And the zoo wasn't viable. And my job was to try and increase the numbers. And when I left, if you included all the special offers and everything else, and the season ticket holders, I remember Mike saying that we were fast approaching the 200,000. And the thing is, it was called Animal World when I got here, and I wasn't happy with Animal World. So I persuaded Mike to change it back to what it used to be, Newquay Zoo. And we had a new logo done and everything else. And then we just kicked it off from there. And once people knew what they were coming to, they're coming to a zoo. It's not a glorified pet shop. Animal World, what does that tell you? Nothing. You've got Furniture World. We used to have a Furniture World just up the road. Water World, yeah. Animal World, yeah. And I didn't like the idea of Animal World, so we changed it to a zoo. And so again, we made a big do of that. Mike also came up with prams and pushchairs, which we did Tuesdays and Thursdays, and that was I can't remember, it's reduced admission.
Yeah, reduced entry and a free cup of tea.
Free cup of tea. Used to get
tea that swung it.
And we used to get like whole groups of mums coming in with toddlers, then season tickets. And we used to have barbecues for season ticket holders. We even had Scouts camp over here one night because they helped put all their tents up. Mike had this vision of getting the zoo up on its feet and running. So to some degree, I was left to my own devices to do what I wanted. Didn't always quite go down well, but most of the time it went down well. Like joining Cater.
Yeah.
I wanted the zoo in as part of Cater, because previously I'd sat on the Cater executive. I know I thought, Mike had lost out, and eventually he agreed. And again, that opens another ball game because you appear in the Cater leaflets. They had their own publication, so people, you pick it up in the supermarket or wherever, and you look at it, and it will say, you can go here, there, and there, and then in the middle of it would be Newquay Zoo. And I think, didn't know there was a zoo, so they'd come here then, And then if you wanted to, you could put coupons in. We did coupons in the West Britain and the Cornishman, which I think is the Newquay version. We've had a walk round this morning. I mean, there was a stage where you could stand in the office and you could see almost down to the deer enclosure. And then he got that guy in to do all the planting, and now it really looks like quite exotic. And we had changes, the Silhouettes went into what used to be the bear pit. We got rid of, we changed some of the enclosures. while I was here, you know. Then I think that was probably your doing. We started doing the talks and the animal encounters. I used to go out and go to all the holiday parks, hotels, and used to go and see the receptionists and say, come round and have a look at the zoo. And we used to give them tickets, you know, like 2 adults, 2 children, you know, to encourage them to come and have a look round, knowing full well that if you go into a hotel and it's a bit of a dull day and you think, I need somewhere to take the children, and they'd never been here before, they'd go to the receptionist and say, what's the zoo like? If the receptionist had never been to the zoo, they wouldn't know. So the idea was to encourage them to come to the zoo themselves and have a look round. And then I once went to the hotel at the top of Chester Road, talking to somebody there, and he said, do you know what? He said, I could have sworn I heard a lion roaring last night. He said, it must be my imagination. I said, no, it's not. There's a zoo half a mile away which has got 2 lions. And yeah, he said, I didn't know that. So he came down to have a look round. That's probably because I gave him a free ticket. We used to do special deals with people like Hendra Holiday Park. We used to invite the owners down with their families. In fact, they had free passes. They could come and go as much as they wanted. You know, I mean, you just have to work with everybody else that's in tourism, you know, so that at the end of the day, it's beneficial to everybody. We used to give prizes. Like St Ives Holiday Village used to have a children's family day, and they used to have a fancy dress competition and other things, and we used to take stuff down there and use that as prizes, plus the free tickets. It was always the free tickets to get them here, because if they weren't going to come, we'd lost nothing, but if they did come, then the chances are they would eat something or buy something in a shop. So that was a big plus. It hadn't cost us anything other than printing the ticket. And they were all numbered and they all had a date on them. When I used to issue them, I used to write the date on them. And then at the end of the season, the girls in the ticket booth would stamp them with the date, and we'd see how long it took for them to come back. And some would come back within a couple of days. Others would come back weeks and weeks later. So, you know, you could judge then how effective the ticket was. Bribery is, no, it wasn't bribery, it was yeah, it was, I suppose, it was bribery. It's always a powerful weapon when you're trying to get people to come and have a look round, you know. 2 adults, 2 children, free. Why not? They say that if you have a good experience, they go away and tell 3 people. If they have a bad experience, they'll go away and tell everybody. And I learnt that working for the tourist board. And that's a powerful weapon, is telling 3 people. You know, especially if they go back to the holiday park or the hotel or that. Say, oh, we went to the zoo, we had a fantastic time. So the next time somebody says, oh, where can we take the kids? The receptionist is going to say, oh, take them down the zoo. And some things we tried and they didn't work. And then I'd sit down with Mike and say, well, we did that and it didn't work and we can't think why. So perhaps next year we'll do it again, but we'll vary it slightly, you know. We had Jenny Agata, who actually has a home down in the Lizard, and she came and I think she opened the puma enclosure, And then we had another well-known entertainer who came and opened the children's zoo.
Yep.
Was it?
That would have been Philip Schofield.
Yes, because the Schofields come from Newquay, and there was Philip, his brother and his parents came here, and we were busy that day. Hosting Jenny Agate was probably one of my things I remember most, because she was so nice and she was so amenable. She just did whatever you wanted her to do. You know, none of this, well, I'm a star. It was, well, you tell me what you want and I'll do it. You know, tell me where you want me to stand, tell me what you want me to say, you know. Yeah, that, things like that. And I remember telling a group of ladies that as part of our security, the last person out used to let the lions out and let them roam the grounds. And they went back and told a reporter in Oxford. And I went in the office and Mike threw a newspaper at me. This is your doing.
That was your sense of humour.
Yes. and I said, but we got in the newspaper. You know, people will want to come and see the zoo where they use the lions as like a burglar system, you know. The fact that we had, what's the little deers called?
The little Mara.
Little Maras.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, God, the lions would have gobbled them up, no. And then me saying to somebody once who asked me if the keepers ever went in with the lions, to which the reply from me was only once.